The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SARAP, has urged Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to use his good office and leadership position to immediately reverse the unlawful ban on 25 journalists and media houses from covering the presidential villa and restore the accreditation of those affected. SARAP urged him to publicly instruct the officials in the presidential villa to allow journalists and media houses to freely do their job and discharge their constitutional duty of holding those in power to account. According to reports, the federal government recently withdrew the accreditation of some 25 journalists from covering activities at the presidential villa Abuja. The banned journalists include those from Galaxy TV, Ben TV, MITV, ITV Abuja, Prompt News, On TV, and Liberty. Former Chairman, Lagos NUJ Kazeem Akinreti joins me for an expert's view on this particular development. Thank you so much for your time, Kazeem.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, so let's get straight to it. I mean, this, of course, it's a pretty much a worrisome development. I mean, what does this portend for democracy and also the freedom of expression, especially for an administration that sort of rides on the wings of democracy as its watchword?
Well, thank you. It is within the purview of the media to keep government, make government quite accountable. And as such, such rights cannot be denied, the media organizations. However, we need to find out why those 25 media houses were singular, because covering the presidential villa, quite a lot of media organizations are there, and they're still working, they are not delisted. So we need to find out from probably the president, the spokesperson of the president, to find out why were they delisted. And so if we know the reasons why they have been doing so, then it will be appropriate for us to also now argue that, look, on the basis of freedom of expression, and then in line with the Constitution, with the provision of the Constitution, Section 22, which gives the media the power, the authority to keep government, make government accountable. Obviously, are being in the State House to cover the presidency. They are doing a wholesome job for the society, for the people. So the question we also need to ask, as I said, is why were they delisted? Why were they singled out of the lot?
All right.
We also need to understand that after when new addition takes off, there's also a change in the paraphernalia of those that covers the State House. That had been the norm. But if okay. Please come along, please.
All right, Kazeem, I just want to pick up from what you said. You said some of the concerns. Now, some of the concerns include over bloatedness of, what I call it, coverage or media houses present in the villa, and also the expressed security concerns. Do you think, reasons like this, is pretty much valid for such an action?
That is more reason why we need we need a statement from the presidential spokesperson on, specifically on those media organizations, why they were delisted. Because there are quite a lot of media organizations covering the presidency. And so if it is within their own wisdom to whittle down the numbers of those, of media organizations, covering the presidency, it is their prerogative. However, the media also has the right, each media organization in Nigeria also have the right to send a representative, a correspondent to the villa, so that they can give them on-the-spot assessment, reportage of what goes on at the presidential villa. And this is part of the inalienable rights of the media organization as part of their constitutional responsibility to the people. So that's why we need to get all these things quite straightened out. And I was also alluding, at the beginning of every administration, the the presidential spokesperson, always try as much as possible to look at, to do a checklist of those covering the media, of those covering the pillar, and see how they can, once in a while, do a routine check and see what they need to do. That is their right. And each media organization also, at the beginning of new administration, also try to change the personnel, covering the presidency. That is the norm that we know in this part of the world. Somewhere in other climes, you have people that have been covering the presidency for 20 years or 30 years, ditto for other beats. But in Nigeria, we know that at the end of probably 8 years, when we had, since the beginning of this, what we call democracy, there's always been a change of guard at the villa of the personnel, of each media organization. However, this one is unique because, the presidency, according to the report, according to SERAP, is, 25 media organizations have been delisted covering the presidency. So we must, there are so many questions to be answered by the presidential spokesperson. And well, I think we need to leave within that realm for now.
All right. I mean, you said something. You said it's still within the purview of the government to sort of, will I say, cut down or delist from time to time. However, is there a caveat to this particular, will I call it, power now or responsibility given by law? Is there a caveat to it?
So the point is, in democracy, everybody has where your own rights starts. That is where the rights of others begins. And of course, in democracy, we all understand that the media plays a very significant role. I don't think this government would like to go down, in history as having a badness, not with the context of, our colleagues who are in the state house or who are in the villa working in the presidency for the government as spokesperson. So they are distinguished colleagues in their own rights, and they are thoroughbred journalists that should know what it takes at this point in time to bring everyone on board. So that's why it's within their own prerogative to decide what they want for themselves. But however, there's also the constitutional rights of the media organization to send representatives to the villa to cover the activities of government, so that they can report effectively back to the people, unhindered. And so that is our prerogative. The Constitution is clear on this. Section 22 of the Constitution is clear on this, on the rights of the media organizations, to make government accountable. More importantly, the presidency. So that cannot be taken away. But why has this 25 media organization been, almost been ostracized now? We need to ask questions on that. So SERAP should also, as I said, yes, let that be a statement from the presidency. I agree with that statement. So if there is a statement from the presidency justifying why 25 had to be delisted, then we can now rationalize it, argue, for and against why that decision was taken.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Kazeem.